Hey, welcome in. Well, the CBC is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. It is Canada's woke state media that Canadians are forced to pay for, whether they like it or not. And because basically it can't fail, because nothing matters, nothing that it does actually matters, it will just keep getting that money, especially as long as their hero, Justin Trudeau, is in power. So the CBC just keeps barreling forward on its woke mission to propagandize every single Canadian. So that's why we get articles like this, 7 things about 2021 that we hope go away and never come back. So this is the CBC, the taxpayer-funded media in Canada, telling the public about the things that it doesn't like and hopes goes away. Things that a lot of Canadians like. Like what? Like Joe Rogan, for example. A lot of Canadians either watch or listen to Joe Rogan. And you know what? The CBC isn't going to put up with that. They're not going to take that lying down. I mean, Joe Rogan's not even concerned if Paw Patrol is promoting capitalism or not. Let's see, they say that Joe Rogan has been a problem for some time. He insists that he's just asking questions and that he's not a respected source of information, while platforming the likes of Alex Jones and Gavin McInnes, and building a business model on people, overwhelmingly young men, and listening to him as a respected source of information. But this year, he managed to turn himself from a vague danger into an immediate, obvious danger. That's right, because he's just asking questions. That's right, he's asking the kinds of questions that don't get asked on CBC. They just happen to be the kinds of questions that normal people want to ask and want to have answers to, or just at least think about. That's why his audience is so large. And regular people don't actually mind hearing from people that are off message from places like the CBC, even if it's people that they might disagree with. Because regular people are kind of curious, and because there's no longer any curiosity in a place like the CBC, they will go to alternative sources for that. Let's see, in April, he strongly suggested that healthy young people don't need the vaccine. Notice the use of the word suggested, not definitively stated, right? Because if you're having a conversation about it, it might come up that, yeah, it doesn't affect young people in the same way that it affects old people with lots of comorbidities. That's the kind of conversation normal people might have. Let's see, he suggested that the vaccine passports were the first step in turning the United States into a dictatorship. Well, it is authoritarianism. Whatever you think of the efficacy of them, or of that strategy, that is an increase in authoritarianism. That's not deniable. Let's see, this is about when he got COVID himself. He described his treatment plan as I threw the kitchen sink at it. The sink included prednisone and monoclonal antibodies, both of which have a solid track record aiding COVID recovery, and ivermectin, which does not. And this is where they really go for it here. Look, I can't prove this, but it's overwhelmingly likely that Rogan's ivermectin endorsement contributed to a rash of human use of veterinary ivermectin. Okay, so there was not a rash of human use of veterinary ivermectin. That was a lie, and that has been debunked. And that, of course, came from a hoax story about Oklahoma hospitals being backed up due to ivermectin overdoses, which was very quickly debunked by just simply contacting the hospitals, as you can see here. So as you can see, the CBC is really earning its tax dollars with its great journalism here. And of course, no left-wing article would be complete without making a bunch of assertions without being able to prove any of them. Let's see, Joe preaches keeping an open mind. But many young dudes are out there taking everything he says as gospel. This is what happens on Joe Rogan podcast. They have long-form conversations that are 2, even 3 hours long, and they talk about a lot of different stuff, and they just have conversations, and he asks questions. And yes, he does say, I'm not a doctor. I'm not this. I'm not an expert in this or that. I'm just asking questions. And that's useful because nobody is everything. Nobody is an expert on everything, but people still want to try and ask questions and reason things out a little bit, or just think about things just for fun. But you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to just go to the CBC and they'll tell you what to think. They'll tell you what questions you can ask, and the answer is none. Just listen, sit down, shut up, do as you're told. We're woke, we're pure, you're a bigot, shut up. But anyway, let's see. And he is not being responsible with that power. He has never been. He's a gateway drug to some really dangerous conspiratorial thinking. And let's just be clear here. When they say conspiratorial thinking, they're talking about anything that's off message, off their message, anything that's off their narrative. Anything they don't like is dangerous to them. His open-mindedness is pointedly one-sided. That doesn't even make sense. How can that even make sense? Open-mindedness being one-sided. No, you're talking about yourself. I've often commented, I comment all the time. The modern left is a lunatic screaming into a mirror, and it doesn't recognize itself. This is a great illustration of that. But anyway, he's encouraging young men to eat horse medicine. That's just a straight-up lie. A straight-up lie. What he said is that when he got sick, he threw the kitchen sink at it, and everything that he took was prescribed to him by his doctor. His doctor prescribed him human ivermectin for humans, for people. And literally everybody knew that. Everybody knows that. CBC knows that. CBC should know that there was not a rash of human use of horse paste. They should know that's debunked. Do they know that, and are they just lying? I don't know. All I know is that this is garbage. And they end it with, please let him and his whole experience stay in 2021. Yeah, that's wishful thinking on your part. That's not going to happen. And just so you know, one of the other things that they want to leave in 2021 is Margaret Atwood, the lionized Canadian literary figure, the author of The Handmaid's Tale, what I thought was one of the holy books for feminism. Yet she linked to an article titled, "Why Can't We Say Woman Anymore?" And this is enough to earn her the title on the CBC as a transphobic. Yep, that's tax dollars at work. In fact, let's take a look at the whole arts section, because this was an article in their arts section. And keep in mind, being taxpayer funded, this should represent all Canadians, right? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. There seems to be a single-minded obsession in this. Let's see, 10 most anticipated queer films and TV shows coming out in 2022. So that's a woke checkmark there. Here we go. Here's some diversity there. Checkmark there. 10 best queer movies of 2021. Check. What goes into designing a runway look for Canada's Drag Race? Check. Here we have more diversity. Check. Here I have Little Nas X. That just checks off a whole bunch of woke boxes. The 10 series that made 2021 the best year ever for queer TV. Check. There's Seth Rogen, and he's woke, so check. Is Kristen Stewart about to become the first openly LGBTQ actor ever to win an Oscar? Check. There's a hockey stick with the rainbow flag on it about 2 HIV writers writing stories called Hockey Night in Canada. Check. More diversity. Check. So it's not like I'm against gay TV shows or diversity or anything like that. I'm just thinking there's other stuff too. There's other people in Canada, lots of them. It kind of feels like the CBC's idea of diversity is not very actually diverse. It seems to be a narrowly focused obsession. In fact, the whole thing is just woke and elitist beyond belief. It just seems like the CBC has become an exclusive club for the woke. And they don't care what you think about it. Well, all I can say is, thank God there's still Joe Rogan. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.